To make pasteles, we're going to begin by making the roast pork, also known as pernil. In a small food processor, add 2 full heads of garlic, 1 medium-sized onion, 2 tablespoons of adobo seasoning, 1 tablespoon of oregano, and I'm using Dominican oregano as it has more flavor, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of dry thyme, 1 teaspoon of dry rosemary, about 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 chicken bouillon cube, 1 packet of sazon, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and the juice of 1 full lemon. Now go ahead and blend it until you get a smooth consistency. We are using an 11-pound pork shoulder. Using paper towels, pat dry the pork shoulder to remove excess moisture. Then, using a sharp knife, poke holes all around the pork shoulder just like so. Then pour the marinade over the pork shoulder. Season the pork shoulder by rubbing the marinade with clean hands all around the pork shoulder and stuffing the marinade inside each hole. By stuffing the pork shoulder with the marinade, it's going to be bursting with flavor. Transfer the pork shoulder to a roasting pan, preferably with a wire rack. And for a juicy pernil, ensure that the fat is facing up so when it cooks, it drips down throughout the meat and it stays nice and juicy. Add about 3 toothpicks to the skin of the pork just like so. Then cover with aluminum foil. The toothpick will prevent the aluminum foil from touching the skin. Now transfer to the fridge and marinate for at least 4 hours or overnight. Then, while still keeping it covered, roast at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 4 hours. And after roasting for 4 hours, remove the aluminum foil. Continue roasting at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, uncover for another hour or until the skin is nice and crispy. And if you like the skin extra crispy, then change the temperature to broil during the last 5 minutes and get the skin super crispy. And if everything goes according to plan, your pernil, also known as roast pork shoulder, will look like this. Let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes before carving. Once the pork shoulder has rested, cut it all up and set it aside. Now, to make the masa for the pasteles, peel 6 green bananas. Cut up the vegetables into smaller pieces so they fit better in the food processor. Besides the green bananas, we are also using 1 green plantain. Transfer the vegetables to a large bowl and soak them in cold water until you're ready to run them through the food processor. Peel 2 pounds of malanga root and add to the bowl. Once your vegetables are clean and ready, dump the water out the bowl. Now, in a large food processor, go ahead and process all the vegetables until you get a smooth consistency. Yo, get the full written recipe at kelvinskitchen.com. And once the texture looks like so, you're good to go. Transfer the masa to a large mixing bowl. Season the masa with 2 teaspoons of adobo seasoning, 2 packets of sazon, and some freshly ground black pepper to taste. Then mix until evenly incorporated. In a saucepan over medium heat, add about half a cup of vegetable oil. To the saucepan, add 1 tablespoon of annatto seeds. Sauté for a couple of minutes until the seeds release all their color. And after 3 minutes or so, remove from the stove. Now strain the oil and discard the seeds. To assemble the pasteles, I normally get this set that comes with the kitchen string and the paper all included. We also need some banana leaves. They typically come in a bag just like this, and they are in the Latino section of your grocery store, in the frozen section, in the freezer. Yep. Cut up 12 pieces of banana leaves about the same size of the pasteles. Cut 12 kitchen strings and double them up just like so. Then lay one piece of the paper flat on your countertop. Place one piece of banana leaf on top of the paper. Then spread some of the infused oil over the leaf. Then place 1 scoop of the masa and spread it out. Place some of the pieces of pork in the center of the masa. Typically this recipe is done with pork, but if you don't eat pork, you don't have to make them with pork. You can make them with ground beef or even chicken. I make them with chicken all the time. Add a couple of green olives, which is optional. To close the pastel, fold the paper over just like so. Once the pastel has been closed, set it aside. We are making the pasteles in sets of 2, so let's make our second pastel to add it to the bundle. Repeat the same steps: paper, some of the oil, a piece of banana leaf, 1 big scoop of the masa, green olives and roast pork. Then close it by folding it just like so. Place a cooking string over your countertop. Place 2 pasteles facing each other and over the kitchen string and tie them up just like so. Let me show you one more time. I would say that was easy peasy. You can cook them right away or freeze them and cook later on. To cook the pasteles, add the pasteles to a large pot of boiling water. Season the water with 2 tablespoons of salt. Cook over medium-high heat for about 1 to 1.5 hours, or until the pasteles have been cooked through. Once they have been cooked, remove from the pot. Remove the pasteles from the paper and serve. Most people enjoy their pasteles with hot sauce and ketchup. There you have it, pasteles. Enjoy. Buen provecho. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.
Yeah.